I know leading change, leading projects is extremely hard to do. And so, and I'm going to sneeze. I've been hearing a lot from people around them just being drained. We're heading into the new school year. It's in the fall here, and the year can get long. So let's talk a little bit about finding joy in your journey. So grab your favorite drink and let's sit back and enjoy a conversation for 15 or 20 minutes and about this topic. It's going to be wonderful. All right, before we get started, I would like to share the drink that I have. I mentioned that we're heading into fall here, and it's still very, very warm in Vegas. I am drinking some iced peach tea today, so I'm actually almost out of it. Should have refilled before this recording, but it is so, so good. I love the peach flavor in the summer, fall months. So with that said, I hope you have your favorite drink because we're going to be talking about finding joy in the journey. Let me start here. The journey is not always fun, right? Sometimes the journey can be feeling like you're up to your neck in mud. Sometimes it can feel like you are flying high, going through the air on this amazing roller coaster. Sometimes it can feel like you have the burden of the world on your shoulders. That was me actually a couple of years ago. But today what we're going to do is focus on 3 different areas. How do you focus on your learnings? How do you understand your emotionally driven why? And then how do you remind yourself of that why on a very regular basis so you can stay grounded in it and it drives everything that you do. So I was mentioning my journey over the last couple of years, and it's been funny because Wonder Services has been, knock on wood, blessed to be very successful up to this point. I can't describe, like if I think of myself 5 years ago and where we are today, it's like almost not fathomable. Like I don't think I would have believed it. So we have been truly blessed. But a couple of years ago, I hired my first W-2s, and oh my goodness, the weight of the world. All of a sudden, I was just like, I'm carrying this backpack around of weight, and everything became extreme. All the decisions that we were making in the organization felt like they were make or break, live or die type of an extreme situation. And I started double guessing. I started like not sleeping well at night. And this was all, yes, bringing on employees is a huge undertaking. And I should have, a very strong focus on making sure that I'm not only providing for my family, but I'm offering a great opportunity for the employees on my team, hands down. But making everything in an extreme, living in fear is not the way to go. And so it took me until actually last October where my husband sat me down and he's like, you need to figure some things out. And maybe have a little bit more confidence in what you're doing and a little bit more faith in the journey that you're going through and understanding that the work that you're doing might not pay off right now, but if you stay focused on finding that joy in the journey, things are going to go a lot better for you. So I shifted things around and almost overnight things changed. And I think my team can feel that. And so it's so important that you find that joy in the journey, even if you are up to your shoulders in muck or you're feeling that burden of the world. How can you still find the joy in the journey? And sometimes that joy in the journey means leaving what you're doing. I completely understand that. I've had to do that in my past, but at least you foundationally, I'm going to give you a couple of tools today that can help you along the way. Okay. So the first one is focus on learnings, and there are all kinds of coaches out there that can give you journals. Like I have the monk journal here. I have a high performance journal back here. I mean, there are all kinds of different ways to do this, but it is really great on a regular basis. Let's just say on a weekly basis, on Sundays, or, pick the day of the week on a Friday, where you simply take the time to celebrate the wins that you had that week. Like, what did you accomplish? But more importantly, what did you learn? Because so often when we get overwhelmed and stuck in the muck, it's really easy to focus on what you need to be doing, what items are past due, where you have your fears, where things aren't going well. But if you shift that to, you know what, I am on this journey to learn. Like, that is number one. Like, in my mind, I am on this, I like to talk about adventures. Like, I am on this adventure of life to learn. Like, and so if you can shift your focus each week to think about, yes, it was hard. Yes, it was challenging, but man, did I learn a lot. And write those things down. So, quick story for you. When I first started I actually started 2 companies out of the gate after I left corporate. And one of them was Wonder Services. Another one was a different area of focus in procurement. But that other company did not go well. I had a issue with a partner. I'll just leave it with like that. The partner that was not being overly honest. And we ended up having a real hard time. It was about a year into my entrepreneurship venture. Just happened to coincide with all the lockdowns with COVID. So you can imagine it was a bit of a time for me and my family and everything. And again, we were in the height of a lawsuit. I didn't know if I was going to be able to retain the work that I did in that company and the income that I earned. And I sat down. We took a road trip to like 7 different national parks that summer. And one of the evenings, we didn't have any television, we didn't have any internet, no cell phones, and my husband and I sat down and focused on the blessings and the learnings of that experience. And I tell you what, it didn't take us very long. It probably less than a half an hour, but we got up to over 100 different things on that list. And it completely changed my perspective of the muck we were going through at the time. Like, no, you know what? This sucks. It did. It sucked. There were so many things I was guilty about, like putting pressure on myself. Like, I should have known better. I should have noticed this. I should have saw the signs. I should have never picked him as a partner. Whatever, all of those things going through my mind. But once I wrote down everything that I learned and all the blessings that we had, oh my goodness gracious, it was like, you know what? We're going to get through this. This storm shall pass, and I am going to be better for it as an outcome. And here we are, 4.5 years later. And that still was very, very impactful. Just doing that exercise was very impactful, because now I know when I feel overwhelmed and stuck in the muck and things aren't going well, if you can focus on your learnings and jot them down and just do that on a regular basis. Like, it doesn't take, some major event like what was happening in my life to do. Just do it on a weekly basis. Write it down in a journal. I don't know. Write it down on a piece of Post-it notes. I don't care. But take the time to reflect on your journey and all the learning you have each and every week. It is going to completely help you find the joy in the journey along the way. Okay, so number 2 is understand your emotionally connected why. And I learned this actually last October myself. And it was a huge, huge thing to help me through the kind of funk that I was in last year. So understanding your emotionally driven why is, I think, just such an amazing thing to do to help you retain your purpose in everything that you do. It answers the question of, why do you show up to work every day? Why do you record videos on Sundays like I am doing today? Like, why do you do what you do? Okay. And I think the emotionally driven is really, really important because to get a paycheck is not an emotionally driven why. That is great. I mean, we need it, and we need it probably more now than ever with inflation the way it is. But it is an emotionally driven why is a deeper connection to what drives you each and every day. So some of you might know the 7 why process. It is I think a lean or a Six Sigma tool where you're trying to find the root cause of an issue, and you go through the 7 whys. So it might go something like this. We have slow approvals in the system. Well, why do you have slow approvals in the system? And then you find an answer for that, and you ask why again. And you have to go through the 7 whys to get to the root cause. And I know that is seems super hard, but until you get to that 7th why, you don't really truly understand what that root cause is. And it's a complete game changer when it comes to Lean Six Sigma problem solving root cause work. What the understanding your emotionally driven why, you do the same thing. You apply that same principle to why you do what you do each and every day. And I always know when I'm coaching people that I coach on their leadership and their development and how they find joy in their journey, you know that you're getting to the emotionally driven why because there's usually an emotional reaction when you get there or when you're getting there. So usually around your 5th why, your 6th why, all of a sudden the tears start coming out, the laughter, the nervousness, whatever it might be, that is when you know you're on the right track. So I highly encourage you, and I've done this with large groups of people and in my coaching one-on-one, but I highly, highly encourage you, if you are feeling lost, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you're stuck in the mud, if you are just wanting something better for your time, I highly, highly recommend that you go through the 7 whys to get to your emotionally driven why. It is well worth the time, but don't cheat. Don't cheat yourself out of finding out what this is. It can be scary. It can open up old wounds. It can bring back memories that you want to avoid, whatever that might be. Don't cheat yourself. Go through all 7. And one thing that I've noticed people do is all of a sudden they'll start using the same answers again, but they're just phrasing it a little bit differently. If you do that, cross it out and think again about why do you do what you do. I've had people tell me that they do what they do because they felt like they were an awful person while they were in their teenage years. They did some awful things, and now they are motivated each and every day to help other people and shine their light because of how awful they feel about what they did as a teenager. Okay? Myself, I have 2 girls at home. In the world that we live in right now, I want to show them each and every day that you can take big risks to live big dreams and work your butt off to get there, but you do not have to go the conventional track and feel like you're in a box every single day. So I know that was a pretty long, but that's what drives me each and every day, is to show those 2 girls that they can live their dreams and do big things in life and truly change the world because they're doing what they're doing. Okay? So I'm getting teary-eyed just talking about it. So that's the emotionally connected why. That's why, when you get stuck in that mud and when you have a hard day, or even when you have a success, you can put that purpose, that emotionally driven why in front of you each and every day, and you can reflect on it and say, you know what, today was hard. It has been a long road over the last 6 months, whatever that might be, but this is, dang it, this is why I do what I do. And it might require a shift to get you closer aligned to your why. It might just be a change in perspective. Whatever that might be, keep it in front of you, keep reflecting on it, and it is going to get you through the hardest of times, the most challenging of times, but also it will help you find that joy in your journey. Okay. And then the last thing that I like to talk about is like, okay, so now you're focusing on your learnings each and every week. You understand your purpose, you reflect on it daily, you see it in front of you. I actually used to have it behind me so I could see it in my Zoom or my Teams meetings. So kind of just grounded me every single day. But the last thing that I would like you to think about is, how do you activate your why? Okay, so this is an exercise that I actually learned from Dean Gracioso probably about a year ago. And what he does is he does like this little exercise, and I think he actually does it every week, but I do it just like maybe every 6 months up to a year to kind of align myself on the general direction that I'm going. Because you might have a purpose and you reflect on that daily, but are you going in the opposite direction of your purpose? How do you understand what that looks like? So what he does, he takes out a piece of paper, and in the upper right hand corner, he draws a box and he puts in your why there, right? Or let me actually think about this. Yeah. And then in the lower left hand corner, he puts in where you are today. Okay, so here's your purpose, where you ultimately, like, this is my guiding light, this is where I want to go to, and then this is where you are today. And then he draws a line in between, right? And then down in between, underneath that line in between those two boxes, he draws another box, and it's the how. And that's so important to think about. Like, so if I'm here today and I feel like I'm stuck, or I'm not finding pleasure in my job, or even if I have like, hey, this is who I want to be, this is kind of where I want to go, and you're just not feeling like you're getting there in what you're doing today, then that how box, you can start writing down things. So like the last time that I did this, I want to be the example to my kids and all things to live their big dreams, but wasn't taking care of myself, which I didn't want to be that example for them. Like, hey, live that big dream, but totally like not take care of your health. Like, that's not a good example. So one of my things was to take care of myself more effectively and show them that you can live those big dreams and take care of yourself. And health is critically important to being able to be successful in your dreams. So that's just a little example of how you can get there. But this exercise is really good to ground yourself in, am I heading in the right direction? Like how I feel today, where I want, like where my purpose is, and how am I going to get there? Like, am I doing the right things? Am I serving the right people? Am I making the right choices in life? Am I needing to make a big choice in life that I've just been frankly avoiding for so long now that I don't even want to think about it? But maybe that's what's going to help you find that joy in the journey and worth pursuing. So those are my 3 different tips to find joy in your journey. Focus on your learnings, understand your emotionally connected why, and focus on that day in and day out. And then understand the direction that you're going. Take a gut check around, am I doing the right things day in and day out to actually fulfill my purpose? Or do I need to make a shift in my life? Or just a major shift, or just small little shifts, right? Those little shifts that we talk about all the time when it comes to airplane, directions. Like if an airplane's off just by a few degrees, you're going to end up in a completely different city. So don't think about this as like, I need to overhaul my life. You might already be totally overwhelmed. Don't need to overhaul your life. You might just want to make a little incremental change that can make a big difference.